Welcome to Studio Talk. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to talk about a subject that I get asked a lot, both in comments as well as emails directly from viewers of the channel, and that's for those folks that are just getting started. Maybe the funds are limited and they want to get started recording. You know, what's my recommendation for the various things that you need to do to get started? And today, that's what this video is going to be about. Now, before I get started, I already know that many of you are very passionate about the products that you buy. Understand today, the odds are I cannot mention every single piece of possible gear out there available. I'm going to give my personal recommendations, and if you don't agree with them, that's fine. But after doing this a very long time and doing a lot of research as well as personal experience with the majority of the items I'm going to talk about today, these are my recommendations. And so first, let's talk about money and what it's going to take really to kind of get this thing off the ground. So creating a home studio is not a budget kind of orientated thing. It's going to require a minimum investment. And so let's talk about the various components that you need and what the objective of today's video is about. Now, I'm not going to make a recommendation on a computer today. I will give you two general ideas, but obviously that is the cornerstone of your project recording studio at home. Many of you are gamers, and so if you have a gaming computer, the odds are that's going to work very well for studio recording. Outside of that, if you're on a Windows computer, my recommendation is always to build one yourself. Don't be intimidated by it. It's actually incredibly easy, and you don't need to have a ton of technical knowledge to do it. Plenty of great videos out there to help guide you through that process. If you're on a Mac side of things and you're looking at purchasing a computer, a base M1 Mac Mini is more than sufficient for the vast majority of people for recording, especially for entry level. That computer should last you a very long time if you choose to go that route. Now, for the sake of discussion of finances today, the computer is not included because there's far too many variables out there. So this is assuming that you already have one or have one that you plan to purchase. So let's talk about the various types of equipment that you're going to need to consider. First and foremost is your recording interface. If you're not sure what that is, what that does is it takes your analog signal, you go into the interface, and then you have a computer connection, typically Thunderbolt or USB, that goes to your computer, and it takes that analog signal and it converts it into digital, where it can be manipulated and edited in so many different ways once you get it into the computer system. Next up, you're going to need a digital audio workstation. And so that is the software application that is going to enable you to record, edit, and ultimately mix whatever you record at home. Then, most likely, you're going to need at least one decent microphone to be able to record various audio sources, whether for most of you it will be vocals, for some of you it will be acoustic guitar, some acoustic instruments, things like that. Many of you, if you're a guitar player or bass player, you're probably going to be going direct into it or miking up a cabinet and recording it that way. So you're going to need a decent microphone, and we'll talk about those. Then we've got to be able to listen to what we're recording. We got to be able to listen to it back and be able to mix it and get a good idea of what it's going to sound like as a finished product. So you need some type of source to be able to listen back to the music that you're not only recording on the way in, but also once you get it into the computer. When I say the way in, analog through your interface into the computer. Once you get it into the computer, you need to be able to listen to everything that you're doing, all your mixing, with EQ, compression, other effects, other tools, to be able to get to the finished end result that you're looking for. Lastly, I don't talk about that in today's video, but many of you are probably going to be into electronic music, so you're probably going to look and consider a little small control, MIDI controller that you can control your virtual instruments, which are synthesizers and keyboards that are built into most of recording applications, or you can purchase additional ones on the side. So those are the things we're going to talk about today. So now that we understand that, let's get into some of my very specific recommendations. Let's talk about interfaces. First up is Solid State Logic's SSL2 Plus, which is a USB audio interface. It has 2 in and 4 out, which means you can record 2 things in at the same time, and then also have 4 outputs. 2 could feed your monitoring source, or you could use 1 and 2 for hardware inserts, but that's another discussion for another day. This is a solid recording interface with great reviews and great performance, and it's on my recommended list. Next up is going to be the Universal Audio Volt 276. This is a USB-C audio interface that is 2 in and 2 out. It's also bus powered, which means it gets its power from your computer port and not necessarily needs to plug into the wall. And so with that, it includes some built-in compression and things like that. But this is also another great interface. Now, be advised, Universal Audio is hit or miss with Windows support. And so keep that in mind. Make sure you do your homework. If you're on Windows, you might want to really look hard and heavy whether you consider Universal Audio. But on Mac, they'll do a great job. Next up, another interface manufacturer that makes very good recording interfaces all the way from entry level up into serious quality interfaces, and that's going to be Mo2. And I'm going to recommend the Mo2 M4 4x4 USB-C interface. This has 4 in and 4 out. It includes two of those inputs are microphone preamps. So you've got a lot of flexibility to grow a little bit down the road, and knowing you're getting a solid interface that's going to work well on Mac OS or Windows, all right? And then finally, last up, this company made its name for really modifying digital analog conversion for many years, and really taking a recording interface and improving it tremendously by changing certain components in it and making the analog to digital conversion and vice versa really improve. And then they got into doing some other hardware outboards. So this company has an outstanding reputation, and know that when you buy a Black Lion Audio, anything, I don't care whether it's this interface or anything from Black Lion Audio, know that you're going to get an outstanding piece of gear for its price. So I'm going to recommend the Black Lion Audio Resolution 2x2 USB, and so this has 2 in and 2 out, serious grade conversions, and has 2 mic line preamps on the way in. So that's what I'm going to recommend for recording interfaces. Now, like I said, any 4 of those can do a great job. There are others that are not on this list that can also perform well, but these are my recommendations, and I guess I'm kind of sticking to it. Next up, we're going to talk about a microphone. And so this is one area that is really important, and today you can really get some good quality microphones at a much lower price point than you ever could before. And so I'm going to make some recommendations for microphones for you right now, and so let's get into those. First option up is going to be the Lewitt LTC 440 condenser microphone. Lewitt makes some incredible microphones all the way from entry level to some really high-end, high-grade studio microphones at the professional level. And they've really done an outstanding job making quality products, quality microphones for a very affordable price, okay? And so I strongly recommend consider anything by Lewitt, but in this price point, I recommend the LCT 440. Next up, another company that's made a great reputation for itself making clones of popular gear, and that is Warm Audio. And so next, I would have you consider the Warm Audio WA47 Junior. Now, this is the I guess I'll call it a U47 Lite, which is a really high-end professional microphone that they clone, but it's much more expensive than this. And so you can make great recordings with this microphone. It's very well rounded and really can cover the gamut of many different applications. Lastly, I'm going to recommend a microphone that I actually have a review on my channel, and I think it is an incredible microphone for the price. It's a little bit more expensive than the others, but I can't strongly recommend this one enough, and that's the Austrian Audio OC16 large diaphragm condenser microphone. I'll put a link to the review I did down in the description below if you want to go check that out. But any 3 of those could do an outstanding job for you. So all of them have my recommendation. Next up, I'm going to talk about Digital Audio Workstation. Your Digital Audio Workstation is the software application that you're going to use to both take your recorded music and be able to mix it, mix the levels, pan left, right, center, things like that. Apply what's called plugins, which are digital recreations of traditional outboard hardware gear like compressors, EQs, limiters, as well as gates and delays and reverbs, and on and on and on. Your plugin choices are kind of limitless. If you're on a Mac, I strongly recommend that you buy Logic. It's only $200, comes with great plugins, works great on a Mac, has virtual instruments built in. It really covers the gamut of all the tools that you'll need. And for $200, you really can't go wrong. It includes free updates when the updates come up, so you don't need to go out and pay once a year or things like that. The only time they will ask you to pay the $200 again is when they do a major rewrite, and that very rarely happens. So you continue to get a supported digital audio workstation for a time to come. Next application will work fine on either Windows or PC, and that is Reaper. Reaper is the best bang for the buck out there, hands down. It's not even a competition. Those that use Reaper absolutely love Reaper and swear by it. I have used Reaper quite extensively, and I find it incredibly easy to learn as far as digital audio workstations are concerned. But this thing is only, if you're using it for your personal use, it's only $60. That's it. You simply cannot get a better deal than that, and they're constantly keeping it updated. So I strongly consider, again, that's for Mac or PC. So if you want to go the lesser expensive route, I would say if you primarily do audio, and that's the majority, in other words, you're recording instruments and vocals and not doing a lot of virtual instruments, that you consider Reaper. If you are doing a lot of virtual instruments and things like that, I strongly suggest if you're on a Mac, you go Logic, because you get a ton of great ones included in it, no additional cost. So now you've got everything recorded. You've recorded through your recording interface. You've recorded into your digital audio workstation, and you've used your fantastic microphone to get those great vocals down. Well, now you know what time it is. It's time to now mix that project. And that is one of the biggest challenges to the vast majority of home studios, is they're operating a space many times just in their bedroom in their house, or a spare bedroom in the house, or maybe out in the garage, or wherever it may be. But ultimately, you've got to be able to mix that project so you can listen to it in your car with your earphones, headphones, the various sources you're going to listen to it, and have it represent what you recorded properly. And so because of all of these challenge spaces, very few people actually honestly treat their room, which controls a lot of the frequencies bouncing around throughout your space. And if you're trying to mix in an untreated room, it's going to be very hard to get a mix that's going to translate well into all the various listening sources. So that's always a challenge. But that said, the number one recommendation I'm making at this point to anybody getting started, quite frankly, anybody that's been doing it for a while, if you're in an untreated room, then just simply go with Slate Digital's VSX monitoring headphones. These are headphones specifically designed to emulate various rooms, mixing rooms that are very famous across the world, and they absolutely work fantastically well. So I strongly recommend that you consider those over monitors. You may find that those will last you a very long time, and it may be some time before you ever need to consider actually buying traditional studio monitors like I have behind me, okay? So I hope this helps. If you add all these things up and the prices of all of these things, it gets you to a little over, I think, $1,050 or something in the high end, and a little less than $1,000 if you were to take the lower priced options along the way. But any of the options that I mentioned today can get you started very, very, very well and serve you for quite a long time. And then later on, you can upgrade. As always, I always check for used products first to save a little bit of money. So check reverb.com, find out if there's used versions of these particular things. I personally have never had any problems buying used like that. But then again, you'll find some people who say they have. I can tell you Reverb backs through sales, so that's an important aspect of it, okay? So hopefully this has helped you if you're just trying to get started. But until next time, hope all of you have a great day. Don't forget to leave some comments down below and tell me what you think about this or any other topic that you'd like to see me cover. Bye-bye.